Hello, good morning. It is Wednesday, time for another Lunch and Learn. We are going to talk today about finding your voice, learning to be able to speak up for yourself, learning to be able to advocate for yourself. That's a challenge for a lot of people, even for myself, and I feel pretty confident in being able to do that. There's sometimes that, that's a struggle. So today we're going to kind of talk about some tips and tricks and things to consider when trying to find your voice. So we'll wait another minute or so and see who jumps on, and then we will get going. The holidays are right around the corner. We are in the midst of a pandemic. How are you getting along? What's up in your world? How are you doing? How are you taking care of yourself? Make sure that you are. It's so, so important to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. So we're going to go ahead and get busy. Finding your voice. What does that look like? What do you do? How can I improve that? So, finding your voice or being able to advocate for yourself is definitely a skill set that starts when you are young and is encouraged and nurtured within that nucleus family when you are young. Not all of us are given the platform or the stage to have a voice. A lot of times old school thought is in place of, children are seen and not heard, which does not nurture or encourage someone to have a voice. So if that's an environment that you grew up in, or maybe domestic violence, or maybe something else was going on where there was a very aggressive, overbearing person within the home, and you just never learned to have a voice, that's a template that you carry with you forever. And that's a template that you utilize within your relationships and within your jobs, within your friendships, is that you tend to not have the ability to advocate or speak up for yourself or be able to find your voice. So let's get busy. Let's dig in. So the first thought, and don't forget to go and grab the discussion notes from my website so you can kind of follow along and make some notes as we go along. So that first thought is you really want to just be able to embrace who you are and really just acknowledge and love who you are, even if it's qualities like not having a voice or being timid or being passive, of being able to embrace that person of who you are and love exactly who you are, and know that you are growing and you are forever a work in progress. So embrace who you are, love who you are. That's a really good time to be able to have those positive affirmations and really do the reflection on the other qualities that you feel are positive and are healthy for you, so that you're not just focusing on that one quality of not having a voice or not being able to be heard. So embrace who you are, give yourself a big hug, and just love who you are and understand that you are exactly who you are at the time that you need to be that person. All right. In thinking about voice and advocating and being able to be who you are, think about somebody that you admire. Think about somebody that you admire their ability to be outspoken, or to be able to be exactly who they are, or be able to be that person that can say what they want to say and what's on their mind. Of course, in a healthy and assertive way, and not just verbal diarrhea and spitting it out, but being able to really understand that they are someone that you really admire from afar. And what are their qualities? Like, think about what are their qualities that you admire, and what is it about them that you feel is something that you want to reach for. Write those things down. Find some information on them if they're like a person like a personality interest or something, or like an actor or a poet, a singer. If there's somebody that has notoriety attached to them, then do your research on who they are. If it's your grandmother, then talk to your grandmother about who she is and how she became to who her final destination of who she is. If it's your kindergarten teacher, if it's the youth worker within the church, whoever it is, if you admire the way that they're able to stand up for themselves and voice themselves and have that voice, then talk with them so that you can get an idea of like what was their journey and what did they do and how did they grow into the person that they are. And let them know you admire them. There is no better feeling than to have a conversation with someone who says to you, you know, I really admire who you are. It's a huge thing. So say that to them and kind of do some research and some due diligence so you can figure out what do I need to do to get to that place or have those qualities. So who do you admire? Kind of research them. Good morning. Take some time to really just sit in silence and just be quiet with yourself. We live in a society that does not encourage being still with yourself. We always have got a ton of outside interference, a ton of distraction. Every waking moment is about do, C, B. So really sit with yourself and understand who you are. It is so important to be able to do that and see yourself within a big picture and not just this little sliver of, you know, I'm someone that struggles with having a voice, because you're so much more than that one piece. So sit in silence, do some reflection, and really think about who you are and the other qualities besides the piece about not having a voice. You'd be surprised at the things that you can really begin to learn about yourself when you just allow yourself to be quiet and just shh. Again, we don't live in a society that encourages that. So create your own quiet time, even if you have like some instrumental music. Definitely instrumental, because words to music really tend to take us off into another place, into our head. So if you want soft instrumental music, nature sounds, whatever it is, just be able to sit quiet with yourself, no distraction, and really be able to reflect on who you are. All right, moving on. So it's really important as you are growing and developing yourself and evolving that you are really investing in nurturing and self-care. Now, I know you're saying, Wendy, what does self-care have to do with me finding my voice? Well, I'm going to tell you. Us being able to have our voice is usually from a place of confidence and assurance and belief in oneself. And so if you are doing the work and you're doing the self-care, then you are naturally boosting those things about yourself. You are boosting your belief in yourself. You're boosting your concept of self. You are boosting your self-esteem. And so self-care equates to belief in self, efficacy of being able to take care of yourself, and I can effectively take care of myself. And so that confidence is definitely going to spread out in other areas of your life. So even though, you know, me taking care of myself at this moment is not going to have a direct correlation to me be able to find my voice, it's a building block. It's very much a building block of me being able to develop me as a full person, and self-care is going to help me do that, because it's really going to help me develop that confidence in myself and belief in myself, which is the very synergy that a person needs to be able to have a voice and have a strong voice and a confident voice, is they need to be able to believe in themselves. So do your self-care. Are you plotting it out? Are you planning it intentionally? Are you doing it consistently? I think that's one of the things that a lot of us struggle with, is that we don't do it consistently, is that we do it every now and then when we think about it, when we might have time. But the thing is you really have to make time to take care of yourself, especially living in 2020 and moving forward. Our world just continues to get more and more complicated. So make sure that you are taking time and you are taking care of yourself. So you are utilizing time that is intentional for you to take care of yourself. That's going to be another whole topic and another whole podcast is self-care. All right. So far we've got, embracing who you are, thinking about who do you admire, sitting in silence and being able to discover who you are, and self-care, taking care of yourself. Those are all building blocks. The next building block is really, really work on being authentic. Be exactly who you are and not trying to mimic or portray yourself to be something that you're not. It's a huge fall from a pedestal. And the last thing you want to do is portray yourself to be this person and you are not able to carry out the characteristics of that person because you're not that person. So be exactly who you are. Be authentic. And it's okay to say, you know what, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't know if I'm ready to do that. Be authentic and be able to recognize within yourself and within others those qualities. People respect authenticity. They really, really do. If you're authentic and you are able to be exactly who you are, good morning. If you're able to be exactly who you are, people are going to respect that and they're going to overlook maybe some of those qualities that you're struggling with, like having a voice. So be authentic and make sure that you are exactly who you are all of the time, and people will respect that. All right. Our next building block to finding your voice is to use I statements, being able to say, I feel, I want, I need, I desire, I'm struggling. Being able to use those I statements is really going to promote an internal growth and belief that I can take care of myself. I can do this. I am able. I am safe. I am very equipped to do this. And so once you really begin to use I statements, you are building this fire and this rage inside of you that you are in fact really able and capable and have the ability to have that voice for yourself and to be able to say to people the things that you feel like you need and want to say in an assertive, healthy way. That's the key to finding your voice, is making sure that it's assertive and healthy. We don't want to have verbal diarrhea and be aggressive. That is not about having a voice. That's about being aggressive. So it's really important to make sure that you understand the difference, and that'll be another podcast we'll have, is being able to be assertive and what's the difference between assertive and aggressive. There's a lot of people, including myself when I was younger, I felt I was a very good communicator because I said exactly what was on my mind. And let me tell you, it was not always a pretty thing. It was not always a kind thing. It was not always a compassionate thing. So I've had to learn that skill set of being able to communicate assertively. But if you begin to use I statements, it's going to come a lot easier and a lot more naturally. Our next building block is use storytelling to have a voice. So storytelling is so important, and it's something that has been used for centuries within the human race, of being able to say exactly what you need to say through storytelling and being able to utilize information within that story to convey information to another person. With my clients that I work with, I always use storytelling. And I use a lot of storytelling and share information about myself, share information about others that are struggling or might have that same struggle. Storytelling is so, so important, and it's so effective because when we storytell, people are able to relate to us. We're building rapport. And once we do that, people are going to be a lot more open and embrace what you have to say when you are being a storyteller and when you're being an authentic storyteller. So use your experiences, or use experiences that you have heard of or information that you have gathered to tell stories, to find your voice and be able to have those conversations that might feel a little bit difficult. All right. Who's on there? Miss Greer, how you doing, honey? Did you grab the notes off of the website? Looks like it's just me and you for today. I know it's coming to the holiday season and everybody's busy. All right. So we've got embrace who you are, figure out who do I admire and let me find out about them. Sit in silence and figure out who am I. Take care of yourself through self-care. Be authentic. Use I statements and use storytelling. Those are our foundation blocks so far. Okay. Did you really want to be in the video, Greer, or was that an accident? That was an accident. You declined. Funny. I almost thought it was an accident, but no problem. Um, hey. All right. So our next building block is to practice. Um, Practicing your voice and being able to talk effectively and speak effectively. It's not something that just happens overnight. It's like any other skill set. I knew it was an accident, honey. It's like any other skill set, is that you have to practice it and you have to do it a lot in order to get good at it. Look in the mirror and practice. Video yourself. Almost all of us hate the way our voice sounds when we hear it back. Like when we listen to our voicemail or when we video, when we see ourselves, on video or camera or whatever, we're like, ugh, like I don't like my voice. But I've been told several times that my voice is very comforting and it sounds good to other people. So I just go with that. Who am I to judge if my voice sounds good to someone else? I'm not. So, but being able to practice, I remember when I was getting my undergrad degree and I had speech class, and I was probably 26, 27, a little fireball, but I didn't have confidence. I was a fireball, but I didn't have confidence. And I remember getting up and doing that speech in speech class and stuttering and mouth dry and jitters and, tapping my leg. It was horrible. It was a horrible experience. So practicing, being able to practice. I have done some teaching, and that's very much about speaking to other folks. It's about practice. You have got to practice, 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 because that's what's going to help you to get better, like any other skill. So practice, practice, practice. All right. Use active listening skills. This is a one that I think our society as a whole. Greer, do you have a question, or are you just saying, hey, that's correct, or waving? Jump in here with me, because it's just me and you, girl. It's just me and you. Do you have a question? Yay or nay? You have something to add? Y'all like my fairy lights I added? I would turn them on, but my power block. Oh, okay, so yes, it was correct. Okay. My power block these are really cool at night. I actually need to do it. I need to do an updated van tour, so I'll probably try to do that in the next day or so. Okay, so active listening skills. I got sidetracked, squirrel. Active listening skills are very much about being able to listen with the intent of taking in information. I don't know if you've ever experienced with yourself or with others where someone is just waiting for you to stop talking for them to just like, and start talking. Active listening skills are skills that include like mirroring. So if someone says something, then you repeat it back verbatim to them and make sure that you understand that. Paraphrasing, being able to say what they said back in your own words. So again, to clarify what has been said. Because if we're confident about what we understand, then it's a lot easier for us to speak and talk about it than if we're not quite sure if we understand. Because nobody wants to talk and sound goofy or sound stupid or sound like they don't know about something. We want to sound like we're self-assured. So using active listening skills is really going to help you understand what that person says. And that's another one you have to practice all the time. Being able to say, okay, now this is what I heard is you want me to do blah, 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 blah. And that gives that other person the chance to say, yep, that's exactly right. Or no, that's not what I said. And then it gives them a chance to say it again so that you can understand it and be able to paraphrase it back again to make sure that you understand. So Greer says, I like to say, what I hear you say is, absolutely, absolutely. What I'm hearing you say is, this is my understanding, is be able to say it just like that. That's perfect. And then that allows you the ability to make sure that you understand what's being said, and so that your part of the conversation or your ability to be able to voice yourself is magnified 100 times because you are very clear and very comfortable about what you heard and understood. It is essential to be able to, as you're having a conversation, be able to do that so that you can be a part of the conversation and feel very confident and assured about what is being talked about. All right. Learn to recognize bullshit. Make sure that you are really nurturing your BS antenna and your BS monitor and scanner, and be able to call folks out on their BS. That is really important. And that's where those active listening skills come in, is being able to say, that's not what I understood, or that's not how that happened, or I don't think so. Be able to call people out on their BS. And that's going to really make you feel comfortable and confident in your ability, because that's a form of confrontation, is to call someone out on their BS. Remember, go back to our Conflict 101 video podcast and review those skills. And that's really what it's about, is being able to call someone out on their BS. But you're going to feel a lot more confident if you understand and you are able to do that effectively. So I always tell folks, hey, I got a BS scanner, and if I sniff or smell or sense BS, I'm going to call you out on it, because I want to have the full facts and truth and not what you're perceiving to be facts and truth. So call folks out on their BS. Surround yourself with support. That is so, so important, is to be able, like, to practice with friends and family, be able to start. That's what I tell clients, is when you are beginning a new skill set, practice within your family, practice within your group of friends, because that's the safest place. Usually, I'm going to put that as a disclaimer, usually that's the safest place to start, is with your family and friends, that they're going to support you and they're going to love you and they are going to give you positive and healthy and sensitive feedback, so that you're able to, like, grow and learn from the experience and know that, hey, I am evolving, I am growing, I am doing this. So practice with friends and family. And if you don't have friends and family that you feel safe enough to do that with, then you just have to practice the other foundation blocks. And I'd say then it's time to, like, start looking for, a new circle. We can't choose who our family is, our blood family, but we can definitely choose who our circle is. And if they're not being supportive to you and they're not making you feel loved and supported, then definitely time to start looking maybe for a new circle of friends that can give you that feedback. If you don't have a circle of friends, look for, like, a teacher or a professor or a coworker. Looking for folks that are older than you is always a good thing, because they have got wisdom and knowledge that we don't yet possess. And so they're able to hopefully give you some positive feedback and some reassurance that you are on the right track. So find someone or your circle of friends that you can tune in and check in with, that are able to give you that feedback and support. And then one of the most important foundation blocks is to be patient. The old saying that Rome wasn't built in a day is so true. let's go back to remembering that very first block of being able to embrace who you are and understand that if you did not grow up in an environment that nurtured you having a voice, that you probably struggle with having a voice, um, for whatever reason. And even sometimes when you grow up in an environment that is super supportive and encourages you to have a voice, sometimes there's still things that happen that you just don't feel safe voicing your opinion, being able to advocate for yourself. Who knows when that turn happened, but it happened somewhere. And understand that that's who you've been your entire life. And so now you've identified, okay, I want this thing to be different. And so it's not going to be different overnight. It's going to take some work, and it's going to take consistency, and it's going to take a lot of patience. Because again, Rome wasn't built in a day. And so you're working on evolving and being a better version of who you were yesterday. So be patient and kind to yourself. Uh-oh. So that's it. So Greer says, I had a friend that told me I was a snob or I changed, as if I owed our stale relationship. I told her I didn't change, I evolved. You know what? That is so common, is when we begin to really have self-awareness and we really begin to grow and evolve, is that people who aren't doing the same thing perceive that as something negative, being a snob, or you now think you're too good for everybody else. And it's really sad, because it's not about that I think I'm better than everybody else. Well, let me take that back. It's not about being better than everyone else, but it's about that I know that I'm growing, and based on what I'm seeing, I know that I'm doing better than my circle. So it's not about being that snobby person. So what was so you told her that you didn't change, you evolved. So do you still have that friendship, Greer, or did that friendship kind of just kind of disappear? Were you guys able to work through kind of that pivotal moment and grow your friendship, or did it just kind of dissolve? Because those are hard to grow through, especially if both parties aren't growing, is be able to acknowledge, hey, I'm growing and you're not. So it withered away. Yeah. And that's kind of sad on one point, because, we have these friendships and they mean something to us. But if we're not able to grow together, then yeah, they do wither away. But again, it's the saying of, that we have relationships for a season or a reason. And yeah, I couldn't stay small to make our friendship big. Absolutely. Good for you that you were able to recognize that. That's so important, is to be able to understand that. I miss her, but not the drama. Yeah. And that's not to say you can't reach back out later in time and maybe try to reconnect and see if there's been growth, and if you guys have got those common things about your relationship or who you are as people now. Because it doesn't mean that that's that very black and white thinking of we're friends or we're not friends. Is that sometimes, friendships kind of go on pause for a while, or they kind of go in this like stasis. And maybe we're able to reach back out later, and we're able to, breathe life back into them and have those relationships again. And sometimes we're not, so that might be something you consider, is maybe reaching out and trying to breathe life back in that. She said, nah. That must have been a lot of drama. But we live and we learn, and you sound like you very much know what's good for you. And that's the important thing, is you've obviously done the work and the reflection, so you know what is important, and what you need for your world. So it is, and that's that part of knowing yourself, is being able to say, like you said, I love her, but I don't want the drama. Because as I've gotten older, and I'm sure as you've gotten older, Greer, that we've realized with our wonderful aging, is that, what, inner peace really is priceless. even on this journey I'm doing with my van and moving around and being nomadic, is I'm spending a lot of time by myself. Because the last thing I need is like strange people in my face, and I'm really not trying to be sick. I'm not trying to do that. So I am spending a lot of time by myself. And even though there are days that are lonely, I am not lonely. I enjoy the quiet, and I enjoy the peace, and I enjoy the serenity of my day-to-day existence. And knowing that makes it a lot easier. Are there days that I'm like, oh my God, I need a hug? But who have I got to hug right now? My grandbaby, my daughter. That's who I have to hug right now. That's who's closest to me. But just understanding that about yourself is it's so priceless. So priceless of being able to understand that and activate it into your life. Because understanding it and then also putting the things in place to be able to move that direction are two totally different things for sure. Um, Good morning. So there is no feasible price for peace of mind. Absolutely not. There is no price for peace of mind. And being able to have your voice definitely promotes that peace of mind for sure. Because if we're able to say what we need and we're able to set boundaries with people and we're able to say no and we're able to not overextend ourselves, then that's when that voice is super, super important. Oh, my hot air is getting a little warm in here. It's super and super important. So definitely, those things are all very interrelated and very interconnected with our ability to have a voice, is being able to understand and put those into play. Greer, I think you were going to think on some topics. You have any topic ideas or suggestions? I've got the month of December plotted out, but I'm still planning January. Do you have any thoughts or ideas? And how are you celebrating the upcoming holiday? Are you doing anything? I'm probably going to be on the beach somewhere. That's my happy place, is the beach. Always is the beach. Not off the top of my head can I text you. You absolutely can text me anytime you want to. So I guess we'll go ahead and pull this to an end. Um, and until next week, no holiday plans. Me neither. So it'll just be another day. So I appreciate you joining in. Don't forget to grab the discussion notes off the website so you can kind of follow along with the discussion. And I will see you next week, my dear. Take care. And as always, be careful.